Good evening. Five commissioners tasked with implementing, enforcing, and monitoring the recommendations of the Truth, Reconciliation, and National Unity Commission (TRNUC), including reparations for identified victims, were sworn in this morning before President Patrick Emini. The commissioners are Georges Bibi, Beryl Doudet, Joël Barnes, Jacques Cui, and Christine Simeon. During their first meeting, Georges Bibi was elected chairperson and Jacques Cui vice chairperson. The commission has a 5-year mandate to determine reparations for 375 cases. The payment of those reparations, however, will be handled by a trust fund. The President of the Court of Appeal, Judge Anthony Fernando, paid a farewell call on President Patrick Emini this morning. Judge Fernando is retiring after a 35-year career in the judiciary. He has served as a President of the Court of Appeal since 2020, and the meeting provided an opportunity for him to thank the President and the government for their support throughout his tenure.
I want to concentrate on writing some articles and also some books on the laws of Seychelles. You see, I have been a consultant to the United Nations on especially the UNODC on maritime law because that's an area of my speciality. I am one of those few judges in the world, I would say, who have dealt with or have delivered several judgments on maritime piracy because Seychelles is one of those countries, Seychelles, Mauritius and Kenya are one of those countries that decided to take over, deal with piracy cases that had been committed even in other parts of the world. Because normally the Seychelles court has only a territorial jurisdiction. But here, even when it comes to offences committed somewhere in the South China Sea or the Caribbean Sea, we have been now given jurisdiction by an amendment to the penal code.
So as long as you have been in Seychelles, how has it been?
I must, all that I can say is I'm extremely grateful, extremely thankful to the people of Seychelles, to the governments that had been in power, to the presidents who had so much of confidence in me. And I maintain that trust and confidence up to date, and that I'm proud of. Having worked with 5 presidents also. That is President Rene, President Michel, President Danifo, President Ramkalawan, and now Mr. President Dr. Patrick Emini.
EU-flagged fishing vessels have resumed fishing in the Seychelles Exclusive Economic Zone following the signing of the protocol to the new fisheries partnership agreement between Seychelles and the European Union. Speaking at a press conference, the Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries and Blue Economy, Wallace Cosgrove, said 15 EU personers have so far applied for the licenses to fish in Seychelles waters. Normally, 21 EU personers operate in the Seychelles EEZ, and Minister Cosgrove said the remaining vessels are expected to obtain their licenses by next month. Minister Cosgrove signed the fisheries agreement in Brussels last month, and the agreement runs for 4 years, during which Seychelles will receive around 41 million euros directly from the partnership. This represents an increase of 7.36% compared with the previous agreement, and under the new deal, Seychelles will receive 10,280,000 euros per year compared to 9,575,000 euros annually under the previous agreement. Cabinet has discussed the findings and recommendations of the 2026 LADIG transport assessment, including proposed policy, regulatory and enforcement measures to strengthen the management of the island's transport system. The discussion took place during yesterday's cabinet meeting chaired by President Patrick Emini, and the cabinet agreed that the proclamation of roads should proceed and that approved buggies and pickups destined for Leipzig should be allowed onto the island. However, no new vehicle applications will be approved until further notice. Cabinet also approved in principle for the Seychelles Broadcasting Corporation SBC to host the Southern African Broadcasting Association Sabah annual general meeting and broadcasters convention in October this year. It endorsed the necessary preparatory and interagency arrangements to ensure the successful staging of the event. The Office of the President has announced two key appointments at the Registrar General's office effective as of the 1st of August 2026. Suleiman Athanasius has been appointed Registrar General after serving as Deputy Registrar General since March this year, and Viviane Confiance has been appointed Deputy Registrar General. The mayor of Victoria, Josie Michaud-Payet, has said she wants to see solutions found to all the city's problems. She made the remarks during a tour of Victoria that began on Benizet Street, where the presence of vendors along the roadside is one of the main concerns.
Various agencies, together with the Mayor of Victoria, Josie Michaud-Payet, are reviewing the management and operation of Victoria as part of efforts to improve the capital. The Mayor says she wants to see practical solutions to the city's main challenges. Mrs. Michaud-Payet stressed that a clean and orderly city is essential to attract funding and donations for projects such as beautifying Victoria. She also said everyone operating in the Bazaar Street area must hold a valid business license and comply with all legal requirements. This applies not only to street vendors but also to shops and businesses that generate significant amounts of waste. The visit began on Benezet Street, where one of the main concerns is the number of people selling along the roadside. Other issues discussed included drainage, traffic access, and what types and sizes of vehicles should be allowed into the area. She explained that discussions with the different agencies have helped identify the city's shortcomings and clarify the role each organization must play to improve the situation. Mrs. Michaud-Payet said roadside vending remains a major concern for both her office and the relevant authorities, stressing that vendors must be properly licensed, have permission to operate from their designated locations, and pay the required taxes. She added that she will soon meet with vendors operating along the Bazaar Street sidewalks to hear their concerns and work with them to find practical solutions.
In football, Brandon Laprose and Vina Kado have been named the best players of the 2025-2026 season. The two players received their awards yesterday during a ceremony organized by the Seychelles Football Federation to honor outstanding players, officials, and clubs. And with this, we end the summary. I'll be back at 8 with the Curl Bulletin. Good evening.